Namaste everybody, welcome back to YogaCandi. My name's Candace and today we have an all levels class that's going to be focused on the core, and it's going to be quite a gentle class. It's not going to be anything too crazy, so it's probably a really good one to do for those days when you're still a little tired but you want to do something with your core, or perhaps you're just not very strong in the core just yet. This is also going to be a great flow for that. So I hope you guys enjoy. And let's get started. No need for any props. So we're going to start off in all fours in tabletop. Hug your belly back. Just take a moment, breathe deep in and out of the nostrils. Hug your belly back as best you can and suck up through your pelvic floor. So imagine it's like a lift. You're hugging your pelvic floor up towards your belly button, and you're hugging your belly button back towards your spine. So we want to keep our breath nice and deep throughout today's class. And stay really mindful, always hugging that core back when we do our exercises. Okay, let's inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, arch, tuck the tailbone and the chin. And inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, arch, tucking chin and your tail. One more. And on the exhale, arch, really push the shoulder blades apart. And then make your way to downward facing dog. Send your tail to the sky, feet hip distance. Your palms are shoulder distance. Press up and out of the shoulders and see if you can get your armpits to look at each other by externally rotating your arms. And slightly internally rotate your legs. Hug your belly back. Taking one more deep breath here in your down dog. And now roll your spine. So just roll forward into a plank. You can take an easy plank by taking your knees down to the ground, or you can stay up in a high plank. But wherever you are, hug that belly back towards your spine as best you can. Holding it for another breath. Exhale, downward facing dog, push yourself back. At any point, feel free to take a child's pose and just rest, waiting for the next part of the class if you need a break. And then roll forward nice and slow back into your plank. Don't allow your hips to hang heavy like this or to be too high. So you want to stay in a nice long straight arrow. Hug your belly back. And back to down dog. Lifting your right leg, you don't have to lift it very high. We're going to draw this knee to our nose, come forward to plank. Hold that knee up towards your chest and tuck your nose towards the knee. And then send it back. Send your leg back behind you. Taking that 2 more times. Exhale, draw your knee to your nose, back into plank. And then send your leg back to down dog. 1 more time. Knee to nose, hold it. And then send that leg back behind you, back to your downward facing dog. Just walk your dog a moment. Come down to the knees into tabletop. And inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, arch. Back into tabletop. Let's rotate our fingertips so they're facing towards our knees. Thumbs on the outside edge of the hands. Just find some little circles, releasing the wrists. Especially if you're a beginner, down dog can be quite tough when you're not used to it, and plank as well. So find some little movements and then send your bum back towards your heels, stretching down the back of the arms. Open up through your feet and sit back down onto the ground if this is possible. Keep your hands on the ground so that your fingertips are facing your knees, getting a deeper stretch down the back of the hands. Hug your belly back and then come up onto the knees. Take your knees as wide as your mat, feet together, and taking a wide-legged child's pose. Just take 3 breaths here. A little rest before we continue. Now inhale, come on up, back to downward facing dog. We're going to do that same little sequence on the other side. So we're going to lift up through the left leg. It doesn't have to lift high. And exhale, draw knee to nose, coming forward to plank, hold it. And then sending the tailbone back and the leg back up into our down dog, one-legged down dog. 2 more of those. Exhale, knee to nose, forward in your plank, hold it. And back to down dog, straighten the leg. 1 more, knee to nose, forward in your plank. And then back to down dog. Remember, you can take a rest here if you need to once again. Otherwise, we're going to rest in down dog, taking 3 deep breaths. Lift up through the right leg and step it as best you can between your palms. Rotate the back foot ever so slightly, bringing the heel down to the ground, but your hips are facing forwards. Inhale the hands to the sky into our warrior 1, bending into the front knee. Hands to the sky. Breathe deep. And now, using the power of your leg, step the back foot forward, but keep it lifted as best you can, drawing your knee to your chest. You can always hold on to that knee, or you can just leave it here, sucking your core back. So really consciously hugging your core towards your spine. If you're able, straighten your leg just for a minute. Sorry, not a minute, a breath. And then bend it again. And do that 2 more times. And release, taking the foot down to the ground. Inhale, the hands to the sky, look up. Exhale, fold. Bending from the hips. You can interlace your fingertips behind your back. Allow them to fall up and over your head. Or you can just hang heavy like a rag doll, holding onto each elbow. Bend your knees as much as you need to. And just breathe here, opening up through the hamstrings. And then inhale, halfway lift, look up. And fold again. Let's step our left leg back. So we've got the same foot facing forwards. We're in a runner's lunge. Just hold this, stretching out our psoas muscle and through the quad at the front of the left leg. Maybe find some movement, rocking forwards and back. Plant the hands when you're ready and step back into plank, holding your plank. 2 deep breaths. You can chaturanga from here or take your knees to the ground, and exhale, draw your elbows close to your body as you bring your chest to the floor. Inhale for a baby cobra, lifting your chest off the ground, and exhale down. Coming back up to plank. Hold it, another deep breath. Back to downward facing dog. You can take a resting pose of child's pose if you like, or we're going to rest 3 breaths here in down dog. We're going to repeat the sequence on the other side. So inhale, left leg to the sky. Exhale, draw it to your chest and step as far forward between your palms as you possibly can. So you're in a runner's lunge. Take your foot to a 30 or 40 degree angle. Hips are facing forwards. Heel is down on the ground if possible. Inhale your hands to the sky into warrior one. Breathe deep here. Hug your belly back. Using the strength of the front leg, hop forward and keep that knee off the ground, this leg off the ground. Hug the knee up towards your chest. You can just stand here holding this leg and hug your belly back. If that's enough, that's okay. Or we're going to play around with straightening the leg on a breath. So inhale, straighten. And bend. 2 more times, hugging the belly back. One more. And then exhale, the foot down to the ground. Inhale, hands to the sky, look up. Interlace your fingers behind your spine if you would like to, and allow them to fall up and over your head. Falling forwards over the legs, you can bend your knees as much as you need to. Or you can allow your hands to just hang heavy down towards the ground. So it's your choice what you do with your hands here. Hug your belly back. Suck up through your pelvic floor. Okay, inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins, look up and fold. Plant your hands, step your right leg back into runner's lunge now on the right side. So just start to bounce your hips or find a little movement, stretching out the psoas of the right leg. And then when you're ready, plant your palms nice and firmly and step back into a plank. Hold your plank for a nice deep breath here. Take your time. Gently bring your knees down to the ground and draw your elbows close to your body as you gently bring your chest down to the floor. Inhale, lift your hands off the ground and your chest. Baby cobra. Exhale down. Take a moment and then take your arms alongside your body and inhale, lift your legs and your thighs and knees and your chest off the ground, and then exhale down. And again, inhale, lift the chest and the legs off the ground. Exhale down. One more time. Inhale, chest and legs off the ground. Exhale down. Plant your hands. Push yourself up into a plank. Take a deep breath. And send your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Take another resting pose if you would like to. We're going to take 3 deep breaths in our down dog. Slowly walk your feet to the center of the mat, and then walk your hands back to meet your feet. And just hang heavy in a forward fold. You can grab onto each elbow, become heavy like a rag doll. Bend your knees as much as you want to. And then start to bend your knees, bringing your bum down to the mat. We're going to make our way into boat pose. So just take your hands behind your knees, rock back onto your bum so that you're finding some balance. You're taking your feet off the ground, keeping your feet in line with your knees. So you're like a little boat here. You can keep your hands behind your legs, or you can just take them alongside your legs if you have the strength. We're just going to take a few deep breaths here. Zip your legs nice and tightly together and hug your belly back towards your spine. Try to keep your spine nice and long. One more deep breath. And then open up through the knees, bringing the inner soles of your feet together. Opening up into butterfly pose. Sit up tall and hold onto your feet just for a moment. If you have the strength and the flexibility, sorry, not the strength, but the flexibility, you can start to lean forward into your butterfly pose. Opening up through those legs. If your knees are very lifted, just stay up nice and tall through the spine. If you can't get your knees anywhere near the ground, don't worry, maybe with time. And then come on back onto your bum, hug your knees towards your chest, lift your feet off the ground and just hug your knees towards your belly. Hug your core in, lift up through your pelvic floor, and we're going back into boat pose, so straighten the legs in line with your knees. Or you can straighten them all the way to the sky if you've got a very strong core. But wherever you are, just be where you are today. Maybe you want to continue holding behind the legs. Let's take one more deep breath here. And release the legs. Take your feet hip distance apart. Hands a couple of inches away from your bum, shoulder distance. We're going to inhale, lifting the hips to the sky, look up. This is a reverse tabletop, stretching through the shoulders. Lifting the hips as high as you can. Exhale down. And again, inhale, lift the hips, look up. Lift them as high as you can, keeping your knees in line with your hips. And exhale down. Now we're going to very slowly roll down to the ground. So roll vertebrae by vertebrae all the way down to the floor. Now hug your belly back towards your core. We're going to just do one more exercise for our bellies. So hold your side, your waist. Make sure that your lower spine is really flat towards the ground. Try not to allow your lower back to lift off the ground at all in this position. Hands to the belly just to make sure that you're hugging your belly back firmly, and also to help you concentrate on that lower spine against the floor. Take your knees up towards the sky, hip distance. Your ankles are around the same level as your knees. And draw your knees a little away from you until you feel that you're having to use your core to keep your legs where they are. If you start to feel that lower back lifting, then draw your knees slightly back, very slightly back towards your belly, not too close though, so that you're still getting a little bit of that strength happening in your core there. So hold this. If you would like to, you can just stay here. You don't have to do anything else. Stay here concentrating on hugging that belly back and lifting up through your pelvic floor. Or you can take it a step further. We're going to do very slow movements of starting to pedal the legs. So we're just going to straighten the right leg. And if just straightening it just there is enough, then stay there. If you start to feel your lower spine lifting, then just stay where you are. Or maybe you have the strength without lifting the lower spine to slowly take that foot down towards the ground. Taking it a couple of inches above the ground, and then you slowly draw it back up and bend it back into position. Doing the same with the other side, so slowly straightening the left leg. If you feel that lower spine lifting, just stay where you are. If you don't, then keep going until you do slightly feel a lift, and then that's where you're going to stop. And then start to draw that leg back up and into its bent position again. Let's do that 2 more times each side, so slowly straightening the right leg. Be where you are, don't force anything. Very slowly taking it down to the ground if this is possible for your body today. And then drawing it back up nice and slow, bringing the knee back towards your belly. Or back in position, not towards your belly, sorry. Now next side, straightening the left leg. It can just stay there, or it can start to come down to the ground. Hugging that belly back, have a feel, make sure you are. And then back up. Bending the leg back to position. 1 more time each side. Straightening the right leg. Very slowly, very, very slowly down towards the ground if that's possible. And back up into its bent position. Taking a moment before we do the last side. Make sure your lower spine is flat. Belly's hugging back. Let's go on the other leg. Straightening the left leg very slowly down if possible. Hovering. And then drawing it back up and going back to its bent position. Before we end this posture, we're just going to consciously push that lower spine back down towards the ground once again. Touch your belly, make sure it's all engaged, hugging it back. Let's hold this for a few deep breaths, so close your eyes. And really consciously bring your attention and awareness to your belly. Maybe hugging it back a little more. Breathing into the upper part of the chest, down into the lower parts of the lungs as your belly holds yourself there in position. Take 1 more deep breath here. And slowly release your feet. Just give your ankles a nice little roll in one direction and then in the other. And hug your knees up towards your armpits, but keeping your sit bones down towards the ground. Taking a happy baby, open up through the legs. Your elbows are the inner edges of your legs, grabbing the outer edges of your feet. Draw your tailbone down to the ground, hug your belly back, and try to draw those knees down towards the floor. If you can't grab the outside edges of the feet, just grab the outside edges of your shins, wherever you can. Take 1 more deep breath. And then release the feet, bring them back down to the ground. Let's windshield wiper the legs. Open your arms out to a T. And then just drop your legs to the left, keeping them bent, and then drop them to the right. Just releasing the lower spine. So just continue this a few times each side. So you're just windshield wipering your legs here. Take 1 more each side. And now straighten your legs, keeping them hip distance or just slightly wider than your hips, and then your hands a few inches away from your body. Making our way into our final resting pose, Shavasana. The inner palms are facing towards the sky. Your face is facing the sky, and let's just take a moment of complete silence together before we end our class. Okay, you can stay in Shavasana as long as you like, just meditate and allow those thoughts to pass. Or you can end your class with me by just wiggling the toes and the fingertips, and then finding circles with the ankles and the wrists in one direction, and then in the other direction. Roll yourself over to the side body and just take a breath there before we sit up. Push yourself up into a comfortable seat, eyes still closed. Sit up tall, hugging your belly back still, but your breath is natural. Draw your hands to your heart center, bow your head. I thank you for joining me today, everybody. Namaste. You can open your eyes. Thank you so much. I hope that you enjoyed this and found this really accessible and quite calming as well. It's not an intense core workout or anything like that, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments below how you got on, and also just let me know if you have any requests for future classes. It's always really helpful to hear from you guys and to know what you're looking for as well, and if there's anything you want to work on, you can let me know in the comments. So until our next class, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Until then, namaste.